December the 18th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at a picture of Mike Johnson, a Republican from the great state of Louisiana, our neighbors across the Mississippi River. He has turned in to be quite a rhino and a swamp creature. Hate to say it because he's a Republican from the South. But we have our problems here in Mississippi, too. We have Roger Whittaker, which is a rhino. Really, he's tied in deeply with a lot of the you-know-what. And then we got Benny Johnson, I think, up in North Mississippi, and he's a Democrat, part of the J6 committee. Anyway, what I've been watching the last few days, and it was coming to kind of the end of the vote today, possibly, was this new appropriation bill for government spending. And it was going to give them, I think, 3 months or something like that. But instead of just trying to continue the current billing to make sure the government was still getting paid and the people getting paid up until after the inauguration, then he started adding a tremendous amount of pork into the bill, very unnecessary, which jacked it up by billions and billions of dollars. And I was watching it today. I've almost done a video earlier, but I wanted to see if they were going to vote or what they were going to do. And I was outraged. You may be too if you haven't been keeping up with it. That in all these billions of dollars, it was going to be wasted not to do anything. It was just supposed to extend the government payroll, basically. And some of the bills. But no, they wanted to throw in billions and billions of pork. And one of them was this. And it's really what got me. He was going to, I don't know if he made a deal with the Democrats or the devil or whoever. But one of the deals in this spending had nothing to do with money. It was to protect the committee with Benny Johnson, the J6 committee and that crew. It was to protect them from being investigated. And we know they've been crooked. We've known that from Jump Street. They lured the people in there and took advantage of it. And what it was, they made their lives terrible. But the main goal was to scare anybody else from going against the demon rules. You understand what I'm saying? Like you strike deadly fear in any type of uprising, and that's been going on for millennia. But anyway, so I watched it all day, and that was just one of the things, but it was crazy added in things. Again, pork. Elon Musk weighed in, him and Vivek Ramaswamy, because they're going to run the DOGE deal, where the Department of Accountability, basically. And they started blasting him, and a lot of other people did too. I wanted to do a video earlier, but my voice is very small compared to a lot of the people I'm talking about. But I was very happy because it looked like we were right on the verge, even after the election, of diving right back into the swamp, maybe even on the deep end. But because of pushback, here's the 1 hour ago, Johnson weighs spending Plan B as Elon Musk stokes opposition. And Elon, I saw the tweet earlier, he said, if you pass this, you will be voted out. And he's got money like Soros, where he can give as much to the campaign as you can possibly give and to the anti-campaign also. Anyway, they're trying to, and it looks like to me, we never know how the minds will turn of any of the people we're talking about, because sometimes the devil and greed can take over someone's personality. And I think either Mike Johnson is completely spineless or something's wrong with him. But you guys in Louisiana, you got to get him out of there. Right now, he just about sold the country out. But again, you can read it. I'll link to the bill, and there's some highlights of the spending. You don't have to read the whole 1,400 pages. But again, he's weighing spending bill Plan B as Musk stokes opposition. The speaker's weighing passing a clean funding package, leaving other discussions on disaster aid and more for the new year. Now, the clean bill would just simply continue as is without adding pork. Now, but what they did was and it's completely demonic. Inside the bill, it was kind of woven like a spider web. Well, we got to pass it so we can get this funding down to some of the victims from Hurricane Helene. And there was some going to Africa, and here, it's unbelievable. But so if we don't pass it, then you're not going to get the money down in that you need in the hurricane cleanups, Florida and up into the southeast. Think about that. This guy reminds me of someone that you don't even want in your church. And he could become a very powerful political player on the chessboard if he's not watched very closely. But I think he did the damage he needed to do to himself today. And I think it's a downhill ride for him now, and thank goodness that better heads have prevailed. It says, Speaker Mike Johnson's leadership team is quietly discussing a Plan B to fund the government amid conservative opposition and vocal criticism from incoming President Donald Trump's top ally, Elon Musk. Definitely the richest. And even, like I said, the text said, you will be gone in 2 years. And he's got the money to do it. Plus, even if Elon didn't step in, which thank God he does have the ability to bring a worldwide spotlight to a situation, guys, to that stage. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's a good thing about it. But between Elon and any of these cats, one day we're going to come across this question. I don't know which one it will be. But is this the man? Is this the man that deceived the nations? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. The Louisiana Republican is discussing dropping $100 billion in disaster aid plus other attachments instead of passing a clean CR, continued resolution. And so, why would I can see the Democrats if they were running everything, but right now, if the Republicans block this, which it looks like that it's going to happen, then why would they not? Why would Mike Johnson not want to wait and let the new administration get into office, just pass what they call the clean bill? You know, just continue the payroll of the people we're having to pay with our tax dollars. Anyway, continue that without a pork, but they do it every time. And I hope that between some of these cats, and I don't really trust very many of them on either side, but I did not want to continue the 4 years we just saw of disaster running straight down. And going back to that, guys, the drone situation really looks like we've been sold out to a couple of different nations. That's why it's allowed to happen. Anyway, the Louisiana Republican is discussing dropping the $100 billion in disaster aid plus other attachments instead of passing this clean resolution. Then dealing with the other issues in the new year. Exactly. When the new administration comes in, that's what you should have done anyway, Mike. Why are you selling out everybody? How deep are they into your business? And this is according to 2 Republicans with knowledge of the conversations, and it's coming out everywhere, guys. Just look up the continued resolution of the House bill to basically prop up this corrupt government. It says, in addition to disaster aid, that would mean dropping $30 billion for farmers and 1 year extension of the farm bill, among other items, at least for now. What they're trying to do is play on your sympathy for the farmers and all. Guys, and the Democrats are the one in the last 4 years that have tried to destroy farms and take away the cattle and the chickens and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Raise the price of diesel and fertilizer and stop the trains delivering this stuff to the farmers when they need it. And so Mike Johnson, I don't know why he did it. I don't know if he intentionally wanted it to completely collapse and him ruin his complete political career. I mean, just wipe it out. Or was he bribed so deeply that he would have been in trouble if he didn't? But, you know, one thing, guys, what we're seeing is their dirty tricks and their crafts are backfiring on every one of them. Now, Johnson has not made a final decision, but if he shifts his strategy, it would be a boon for his right flank, which has railed publicly against the current spending bill and revived a dormant threat to Johnson's speakership. He needs to get thrown out, voted out, impeached, whatever you got to do, or at least out of the role of any kind of speakership or leadership. Many of those conservatives don't typically support stopgap spending bills, but he did. Most of the additions to the bill were designed to appease other Republicans as well as Democrats. Remember, one of his things, it was going to be basically illegal to investigate Liz Cheney and her group that's persecuted the J6 people. I'm talking about as bad as any prison anywhere. Now, Musk's decision to weigh in has frustrated some Republicans who have long viewed him as a potential ally in their charge to cut spending, and that's what he's doing, something virtually all Republicans want to do except the rhinos. Johnson is one of them. The GOP doesn't control all the levers. It's kind of funny, and it made me laugh when I first read it, and it may make you laugh, it may make me laugh again, but it says the GOP doesn't control all the levers of power until next year and is therefore limited in its ability to write spending bills that the party favors. Some Republicans are already privately grumbling that Musk, while clearly a successful businessman, doesn't understand the ways of Washington, where spending bills must be bipartisan. Don't understand the ways of Washington. Elon, you've got to just let us go crazy and send money everywhere and get 10% to the big guy and get Hunter his cocaine and everything else. That's what they're trying to stop. Now, again, nobody can be trusted 100%, but we're definitely going in a different direction. We'll see how it's going. And listen, if we were worried about getting into tribulation 4 more years of where we were at, we would have not made it. Maybe another year or two without being starved in a FEMA camp. So count your blessings. But things are changing. You've got to let God handle it. He will use who he wishes to use. Always keep our Father in heaven in mind and let him guide you, and ask him in your prayers to guide this nation. Now, here's where maybe what Johnson has changed, because he says, I was communicating with Elon last night. That was Wednesday, or Tuesday, because he said it on Fox and Friends yesterday. He said Elon, Vivek Ramaswamy, and I were on the text chain together, and I was explaining to them the background of this, and Vivek and I talked last night about almost midnight, and he said, look, I get it. He said, we understand you're in an impossible position. Everybody knows that. No, he's not in an impossible position. And Vivek Ramaswamy is another one you got to watch very close. We were warned by Nigel Farage from England, from London, that to watch this guy. Very slick coming in. But Mike Johnson, if you look at him, doesn't he look like the finance manager at a big car dealership that talks you into everything on the back end, insurance and all of that? That's what he looks like. That's probably where some of his background came from. I don't know. But that's kind of the way he's doing it. But when they say he's caught between a rock and a hard spot, no, he's not. All he's got to do is say, all we're going to do is continue this as it is set up now until January the 20th. Quit playing games. And then we'll go from there. Because then you got all 3 of the branches on one side. And so he's trying to sell himself out to protect his political career. Now, it looks like Kentucky, you've got a pretty good representative with Thomas Massie, because he became the first Republican to say that he will vote for someone else beside Johnson for Speaker. Several others said they were uncommitted to backing Johnson, who can't become Speaker if he gets more than one GOP no vote early. And look, man, he's going to get way more than that. And so right now, the reason he's saying, oh, let me go to Plan B, is because he realized that he was going to end up on the bad side of the Republicans instead of the bad side of the Democrats. So, when you sell your soul, he always calls you back to the crossroads to collect, just like we've seen with Diddy World and Hollywood and all that. Yeah, he'll make a deal with you, just like he did with the guitar players down in the movie Crossroad and long before that, from the beginning of time. He'll tell you a lie. He said, yeah, you're gonna have a great career, politics or whatever it is, Hollywood, music. Just sign on here, and all I want is your soul at the end, and you're gonna have to pay up, a little interest. Well, he's telling them now to pay the interest. But they're saying to him, just imagine this, Satan and the Democrats and Hollywood and all that. They're saying, but that's going to ruin our career. He said, yeah, pay up. He lied. He's the father of lies. And every time you go against common sense and protecting your country and your fellow man and women, then you are on the wrong side. Anyway, guys, I didn't want to make it this long, but it looks like we may have a chance for this thing to get changed. I don't know how many was watching how bad it was about to happen tonight, but I feel a lot better about it. If you hadn't been watching it, you should have, because they do it every year, have to extend the money for the government. But they should never be allowed ever to put pork on any bill. And the other thing that Trump should do is if you are a lobbyist, you better get another career very quickly, because if you and the politician that you're approaching to give him money, which has been legal forever, how come the crooks makes the crooked crap illegal? I mean, legal for them, but not for us. Anyway, they come in there with money and get you to vote on spreading poison all over the planet, whatever it is, right? That needs to be gone immediately. That particular lobbying party is a terrorist organization. And if you wanted to name the #1 terrorist organization in the world, what would it be? It would be the Democrats. It wouldn't be some outside force. Who has tore down the nation quicker and harder and more crueler than anybody else you can think of? Taking all our taxpayer money and give it to people coming across the border thinking they'd get their votes and their cheap labor. All of Satan's promises to them have backfired. He's calling up the payment. And look at what's happening. It's amazing to be alive in these days and times, but guys, if you see any change in this bill from Mike Johnson, pay very close attention tonight, tomorrow, and if you need to make phone calls to your representatives that will vote on this, I'm not talking about the Democrats, you know they're going to vote with Johnson, then you let them know your group and your votes will change, just like Musk is telling them. Anyway, guys, it's a heads up. I think it's one of the main things we need to be watching right now, because if they get their way, they're going to be shipping more money, weapons, and pushing us further into World War III also. That's what they want. They can't have the house. Let's just burn it down with nuclear radiation and hopefully hide in the bunkers till the rocks start falling on them, and they're praying to end it. But they may be that group that the Bible talks about. Men will be praying for death, but it will elude them. Heads up, guys. Be safe.